I thought, what a great idea for a play. We'd have Woolworth's counter center stage and do a lot with some of the main figures who took part in the sit-ins.
The play debuted in 2023 at Tampa's Stageworks Theater. Now, Leap's show is being brought to the stage at the Strass Center.
Well, they're giving you all the support you people asked for. To be honest, you said it sort of got them off balance.
Former Tampa Congressman Jim Davis is part of a team that raised around $500,000 to bring the play back. Davis's grandfather, Cody Fowler, was a lawyer who worked for state biracial commissions and a participant in the protest.
The values that my grandfather and these folks demonstrated in this play are my values, and the values my wife and I have tried to instill in our two sons.
There will be public showings of the play and private performances for over 30 Tampa schools. Davis says schools would like to send around 10,000 students. However, the theater is only going to be able to accommodate 2,000 of them. Davis says parents should use their discretion in allowing their kids to attend. He mentioned strong language in one violent scene in which the Ku Klux Klan tries to kill Reverend Lowry offstage. And while civil rights and black history lessons are being scrutinized on state and national levels today, Davis says the play's message is not an issue.
We teach the history of civil rights in our schools, but we've never had a local story to tie it to. And what our students like is authenticity. And the fact that this happened near them, in some cases very near them, is very important and impactful.
Davis says he wants students to be ready when it's their turn to stand up, or in this case, sit down, for what they think is right.
My grandfather was in the right place at the right time to do the right thing. And you may be one of these days too.
And Shirley Lowry also hopes audiences, especially young people, learn from the play.
There are some people that do not have a voice, and I think this story kind of shows that students have a voice now.
When the Righteous Triumph will run from March 6th through 9th. The play will be recorded by WEDU for a broadcast later this year. I'm Lily Belcher in Tampa.
All right, everybody out. The lunchtime is closed.
This is WLRN News.
We're funded by members and by Kaufman Rawson, advising clients for 60 years. Joy isn't a term normally attributed to accounting and consulting, but you can see how Kaufman Rawson makes joy the bottom line for amazing clients at kaufmanrawson.com. When it comes to matters of the heart, speed is critical. That's why Holy Cross Health created MD-ASAP, Rapid Response Cardiac Specialists for non-emergency heart conditions. You can get same-day appointments for screening, evaluation, and treatment of everything from irregular heartbeats to dizziness. For a free heart risk assessment and more information about services for new and pre-existing cardiac conditions, you can visit holycrossheart.com.
Get ready to laugh in LRN, Saturdays at 11 a.m. with Wait, Don't Tell Me. And on Sundays at noon, embark on a mind-bending treasure hunt with Hidden Brain. LRN, it's your South Florida hub for curious minds.
WLRN.
Turmoil in D.C. has started to hit student borrowers.
Marketplace Border Report is supported by The Economist, devoted to providing independent journalism that makes sense of the news shaping the world. More at economist.com or with The Economist app, newsletters, and podcasts.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore, in for David Borgaccio. The Department of Education removed online applications for consolidations and income-based repayment plans. The studentaid.gov website says the removals are temporary to comply with an appeals court injunction, but it has left student borrowers in the lurch. Marketplace's Nova Safo has the details.
The Department of Education shut down its online application portal for those repayment offerings, but is still providing paper applications for download. At the same time, the Washington Post says the department has instructed loan servicers to stop processing income-based repayment and consolidation applications for at least 3 months. The department says it's complying with an injunction issued last week by the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals in St. Louis, halting a Biden-era repayment plan called SAVE, which dramatically reduced or ended repayments for certain borrowers. The appeals court said the Biden administration exceeded its legal authority setting up that program. Now those enrolled in SAVE may need to apply for other repayment options, but for now they can't. These disruptions come after a pandemic-era repayments pause ended in October. Millions of borrowers have since fallen behind, according to VantageScore, which says they will likely see their credit scores impacted. I'm Novasafo for Marketplace.
All right, let's do the numbers. Dow futures are up 0.4%, 169 points. S&P futures are up just 0.2%, and NASDAQ futures are down 0.1%. Bloomberg is reporting Meta plans to raise $35 billion to build more data centers in the U.S. Meta stock is up 0.5% in pre-market trading. Bitcoin, though, is down almost 27% from its peak back in January. Several cryptocurrencies have tumbled in value this week. Analysts say it's a response to fear and uncertainty around tariffs and the economic outlook. And while investors have been selling their crypto, they have been looking for a safe place to put their money. That would be the bond market. The bond prices have been rising this week, which means yields have been falling. The 10-year Treasury yield is at 4.259% now. The same fears around tariffs and inflation growth have unsettled markets in Europe and Asia too. Here's the BBC's Leanna Byrne.
Markets are firmly in the red as Trump's latest tariff threats rattle investors. In Europe, the stock 600 dipped 0.6% before recovering to around 0.3 down through the morning. Germany's DAX also had a rough early session, falling nearly 1%, before recouping some losses as exporters brace for potential new levies. Over in Asia, Japan's Nikkei slid 2.8%, and Hong Kong's Hang Seng tumbled more than 3%. Investors are also watching Bitcoin, which has slipped below $80,000 for the first time in months. Meanwhile, the dollar is gaining ground as markets weigh the impact of tariffs on inflation and whether the Fed will still move ahead with rate cuts. I'm the BBC's Leanna Byrne for Marketplace.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Think or Swim. More at schwab.com.
The relationship between the U.S. and China is getting more tense. Just yesterday, President Trump said he wanted another 10% tariff on all Chinese goods. That is on top of the other 10% tariff that went into effect a few weeks ago. Last week, the administration announced it would be further restricting investment into and from China. China has called for dialogue, but warned it would respond. It's already cut off the export of some critical minerals to the U.S. and is considering further restrictions. An exclusive report from Reuters found some Chinese firms are already starting to cut off access. Ernest Scheider is a reporter at Reuters and joins us now for more. Ernest, welcome.
Hey, it's great to be with you.
Up until now, at least, the U.S. has imported materials and equipment from China to process lithium. This is the metal used in electric car batteries, for example. What does that mean exactly to process lithium? Like, what are U.S. companies using this kind of equipment and materials for?
The main piece of equipment used to filter it is called a sorbent or an absorbent, and that's basically, it sort of acts like a giant magnet, and in a salty brine solution, it'll basically attract lithium and not other minerals that might be in that brine, such as calcium or magnesium. China has become the world's largest producer of those sorbents and has been using that control for its economic benefit.
Now, China hasn't officially banned its companies from exporting that material to the U.S., but your reporting has found that Chinese companies aren't waiting around for that to happen. They see the writing on the wall, and they've, some of them have stopped exports to the U.S. preemptively. How serious is that for U.S. industries that need that material?
We do know that earlier this year, China basically threatened to withhold all kinds of lithium processing technologies and critical minerals processing technologies to the West as part of this escalating trade spat. So the fact that one company is already preemptively doing it is a sign that private industry within China is beginning to react to whatever Beijing is doing. If Beijing ultimately approves this export ban, companies would need government licenses for overseas sales that are difficult to obtain. Now, there are some Western companies that are trying to catch up with these Chinese rivals and produce more of these sorbents, but the problem is that many of them have not found commercial success yet.
There's a certain symmetry here, it seems, in what China and the U.S. are doing. The U.S. blocked the export to China of the equipment used to make semiconductors, for example. Now you have China blocking the export of the equipment to make or process lithium. Do you think this is coincidental?
It definitely